What up, is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We are doing the top 10 wide receivers in the last three classes. So 2019, 2020, and the rookies. We're combining the rookies. We're throwing them in. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. You get to see this face daily, especially if you hit the little bell button. You can get to see this daily. And just tell some people, because we're growing this channel pretty quickly, and it's fun to grow this channel quickly. But the top 10 wide receivers, we're going 1 to 10. And my first wide receiver, I RIP to Diggs because he's no longer a Viking, but we get to put my Vikings number 1, and that's rare that we get to do that. But Justin Jefferson, 2020 class, of course, he was like the wide receiver 3 on my board, and probably 3 to 6 on other people's boards. But he is, well, not rookie of the year. He's second to Herbert, but he's the wide receiver rookie of the year. And he did everything amazing. 1,400 yards receiving. He's a top 5 dynasty wide receiver to this day, like right now, which is something that is incredible to hear and say. He has all the tools and skills and abilities to keep that going, and the opportunity as well to keep it going. So he's my number 1. It's easy. So all right, number 2 is going to be A.J. Brown, slightly right below him, again, super young. He's 2019 draft class. I was a little bit lower on him, just in general. He was more of like an end of first round pick in 2019. And there's some question marks. I mean, you go to Tennessee, and Tennessee's not a great fit, you think. But A.J. Brown's a beast. I mean, over 1,000 yards in the last 2 years. He's been hurt. I mean, they said he had to repair both of his knees after the playoff game. I mean, he's just incredible. They said that he was going to be potentially out for the year. And he's like, nah, I'm just going to receive for 1,000 yards in 14 games. And they're like, oh, okay. So for a 23-year-old wide receiver, it's incredible. He's my number 2 in the last 3 draft classes. And why we do this video, just briefly, is because a lot of people have been saying, do I trade this wide receiver for this pick? Well, now you can put a name to what wide receivers are better than the best wide receiver pick available. So if you have 103 and you're looking at Devonta Smith or JaMarr Chase, well, we haven't heard those names yet. You can trade these wide receivers. These wide receivers are more valuable than those 2 players, at least. So number 3, though, DK Metcalf. This was super close with some of the other wide receivers, but 2019, of course, draft class, and DK Metcalf right now has an awesome situation with Russell Wilson. The biggest issue with DK Metcalf, I mean, he was super consistent, scored a bunch. He was wide receiver 1 the first part of the year, and then just fell off the map. Is that going to happen again with Russell Wilson? Is that going to happen again with Seattle's offense? I mean, DK looks the part, and he has all the attributes for the part. It'll just be interesting to see if he continues that on. Again, a top 10 dynasty wide receiver in general, not just in the last 3 years. He's been amazing. He's just a nudge ahead of number 4, which is CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb was my number 1 wide receiver by far in 2020. I mean, he was incredible. And I still think if he had Dak Prescott, him and Justin Jefferson might be super close. And CeeDee Lamb, I could look at this in 12 months and go, oh my goodness, what were we doing with CeeDee Lamb? Why is he 4? He should be number 1, or he should be number 2, right behind Justin Jefferson. So this might be a huge mistake. He might be the next DeAndre Hopkins. He might be the next Devonta Adams type of fantasy wide receiver that we see at number 1, a top 10 wide receiver for the next 4, 5, 6 years. This is CeeDee Lamb has those abilities. Justin Jefferson has those abilities. And now that I'm already saying it, every time I say it, I'm like, man, am I too low on CeeDee Lamb? I might be. Anyways, number 5. Or 4 with CeeDee Lamb. Number 5 is going to be Scary Terry. Terry McLaurin, and I love his talent as well. His biggest issue, again, is going to be the wide receiver, or the quarterback position. The quarterback position, Washington's just a mess at quarterback. They signed the former quarterback from the Minnesota Vikings, and I can't think of his name, but they signed him. He played in the playoffs. Taylor Heineke, they signed him for a cheap deal. Alex Smith said he's not retiring. Okay, well, we'll see. Are they going to draft a quarterback? I mean, they have an pick. They have a mid pick. I think it's pick 13 or 14 or something like that. Because, of course, they went to the playoffs and decided to lose. Man, maybe it's later than that. They might have pick 18 then. Because they went to the playoffs and lost, of course, to the champ, Tom Brady. Anyways, so Scary Terry, his biggest issue is quarterback. I mean, he, again, better than all the rookies in 2021. All of them. And this is where we get to the rookies of 2021. I have back-to-back. Number 6 is going to be Devonta Smith, my wide receiver number 1. I love everything about Devonta Smith, his game. His only thing is his BMI, his low BMI, which I can say that all I want, but ultimately I want a football player on my team, and he plays across the middle. He does everything well that you want to in an NFL wide receiver. I think people are just trying to find and nitpick things to his game, but he's the number 1 wide receiver in my mind. It's simple, flat out that. He's a better wide receiver than JaMarr Chase. He's an overall better and more defined and NFL-ready wide receiver to this day than JaMarr Chase. That's why he's there. And right behind him is JaMarr Chase. There are certain situations that JaMarr Chase jumps Devonta Smith with certain situations in draft and I guess opportunities with draft teams. But JaMarr Chase is going to be my number 7, excuse me. So, so that's where we have our first 2 rookies here. And then number 8 is going to be Jeudy. Now, this is kind of a, again, trying to predict the future, not the past. The past was The past was okay. I mean, Jeudy had an okay year for Drew Lock, but I'm expecting a better thing for Jeudy going forward. Courtland Sutton is an awesome alpha, but I could see a really good second wide receiver. Like a Jeudy could be a really good beta to the alpha in that type of system. And Denver just needs to find a quarterback too. I think they will find a quarterback, or they're going to at least go swing hard at trying to find a quarterback. John Elway will not let his team just rest in Drew Lock's hands. At least I really doubt it. And so this is, again, predicting the future. I think Jeudy is going to be a solid. He's got more talent than the next 2 guys, and that's why he's ahead of here. We're looking at future and not the past. Because number 9 is T. Higgins, and T. Higgins, of course, had a better year than Jeudy, and he does have Joe Burrow. But I do like his talent just a little bit less than, of course, Jeudy. But T. Higgins, again, another really solid wide receiver, an awesome team that can grow with, of course, Joe Burrow. He's going to have Tyler Boyd there. Maybe they draft a tight end. They need to draft an offensive line. I've seen a lot of mocks with the tight end. So we'll see exactly what that offense looks like, but I think T. Higgins is a really good spot here at 9. Number 10, Chase Claypool. He's going to be, I believe, the beta to Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's going to get all the targets and stuff like that. Chase Claypool is going to get all the big plays, which is fine in that Pittsburgh offense. We'll see how long that Big Ben stays there. I think it's going to be 1 year, and I think it's going to be done for Big Ben. So Chase Claypool might actually dip in value after this 2021 season. And so that tells me that all these wide receivers are above Rashad Bateman, above Jalen Waddle, above Rondale Moore. Like, these are all wide receivers that I would rather have than those wide receivers. So when you're looking at, should I trade 107 or 106? I guess maybe 106, 107, depending on what your leagues are, and say, well, I'd rather have that or Claypool. Well, now you can say, well, I'd rather have Claypool than the third wide receiver. So if that is 107 is the third wide receiver, then of course I'd rather have Claypool. So this is an easy way of doing it. So if you made it this far, please subscribe, because you made it way too far. No, I'm just kidding. So this is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads, where we do daily Dynasty videos, and you get to see me. I will see you tomorrow.